Kia ora iwi and welcome to The Chew. Coming at you from the studio here in Muriwai, Arrowtown. Ko Arrowtown Dad, tēnei. And we're back again with the bro Arn. Kia ora bro.
Kia ora bro, how are you?
Not too bad. So we're going to make a little bit of a change to the subject matter today. We're going to do a little bit of this will be like an introduction to the political situation in New Zealand at the moment, because we have the election coming up soon. So
It's a hot topic for people.
Hot topic, bro. Very hot topic. So we're going to delve into into some sensitive areas. We might even have a few disagreements with
hopefully
the approach. Yeah, hopefully. And so let's get started, bro.
Yeah, bro. Sweet.
Where do you want to start?
So the election's coming December, I think. It's an interesting time of year. It is December, right?
It's normally about November, sometimes as early as October, but I think it's November this year.
November, yeah, so pretty late compared to... Yeah, I've seen it because it's usually around my birthday. And I'm mid-September. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you can read into anything there.
Yeah.
This government's been pretty sneaky about trying to hide different bills and things like that when holidays are around. So, elections,
Yeah. So, what's your feeling in general terms, bro? What's your feeling with how life is for you under the current political leadership? Is it sort of bubbling more towards the positive or the negative? What do you think?
I mean, there's multiple different ways to look at it, right? Which is, I think, from a personal point of view, based on where we're lucky to live and the way that we've built our lives in this area, I don't think I don't think we're as affected as some of our whānau up north.
Absolutely.
And so, you can call whatever the attitude towards Māori down here, whatever you want to label it, but I'm pretty comfortable in calling myself Māori. I don't really have too much negativity coming my way around being Māori or speaking Māori in this area. I'm sure it's out there, it probably is, but up north, I think from a central government point of view, I mean, what I was saying to you, I think last week, we're just starting to see some of the fallout of year after year, 2 years back to back of just pressure put on different Māori kaupapa. They came in and what's Te Whatuora, the Māori Health Authority, immediately out the gate, 3 borders gone. You couldn't even say the word co-governance, when they first came in. RMA reform, trying to get the iwi voice out of the consenting. There's just one thing after there's treaty principles bills, the regulatory stand, like all of these different changes. And it's just starting to impact now, right? Whereas in our area, just slowly starting to see a few kaupapa die. When I first came down there, I came to one of your reo classes. And that was in a time where massive wait lists for reo classes. And I hear that some of our reo classes aren't going to be sustainable this year and be able to
absolutely.
And that's not, we can't potentially point the finger at the government and say it's their fault.
No.
But,
well, you never know. It's hard to know the impact that may have had.
I just think it's just that long term, 2 years of negativity. You probably can't go a week without looking at the news and having something. Either Māori upset about something, or anti-Māori something, or, it's with a newspaper headline of being affected or impacted or unhappy or whatnot. And man, it's difficult. It's got to play on people, especially those people. I mean, in our area, I'd hazard a guess that most of the people that did your reo classes weren't Māori.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep, that'd be correct. Yep.
So, when you've got all this negativity and politics flying around, if you're on that sort of bridge of crossing into the Māori world, the appetite to actually step into this world, because all of a sudden now you've got a Māori community that are either, that are pissed off with the government. So, I don't know what the impact is, but it's an important year, I think.
So to circle back to my question though, do you feel like, on balance, your life has been affected more positively over the past sort of 18 months from the current government, negative, or nothing really that's shown any difference?
Yeah, on balance, there's a negative impact on balance. I think it's net negative.
Yeah.
For me and for us potentially down here, we haven't seen the massive part of that, but working Māori partnerships, so that affects my life that way, right?
Yeah.
Because there's less of an appetite to form these partnerships, be it from iwi or council or government or business or whatever. The appetite to uptake is gone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so to answer the question from my perspective, negative. It's easily negative. The two main areas of concern for me is the Treaty Principle Bill has been a negative sort of focused thing, but I never really cared too much about that because I didn't feel like that was going to go anywhere anyway. Other than rally the troops behind the cause.
I think it did that.
It did.
I think you saw the marches that were bigger in number than in 72. With Whena Cooper.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it rallied Māori. I think it rallied Māori aligned. Those that aren't Māori, that are Māori aligned.
Yeah. So I think, realistically, there wasn't going to be that much of a change without having the public agree to it, right? So I didn't even really care too much about what was going on with that because I knew that the change was just not going to happen. However, the things that have affected me from a negative perspective, first thing is Te Reo.
Yeah.
So this constant pulling down, removal of Māori words, it's such a petty thing for our government to have focused on. Yeah. It doesn't serve anything except for, the racists. That's going to make them happy.
100%.
That they did something about that.
Something that it doesn't make fundamental sense because, being Māori, we blame our colonising people for a lot of things. But, I don't think we can blame this on England or Wales or Scotland because, you look at Wales in particular, some bizarre spellings in their words and things like that. But, they use bilingual signage everywhere, as an example, right?
Yeah.
Same with the Irish and so on and so forth. And so they've got their cultural practices. And so when I sort of learnt about the fact that Wales has all of these bilingual road signs and in their two different languages, I'm sitting there going, well, what is the culture that's really pushing them back on it? And the only thing I can come up with is the fact that this culture's sort of been created in New Zealand, so this is not something that has come from anywhere. It's been born here. And that's what I really struggle with, it is petty.
It's petty. I mean, it does nothing except serve the racists and create costs unnecessarily to taxpayers.
Yeah.
Because it's not hurting anyone by having these Māori words. It doesn't create problems anywhere as much as the right wing of New Zealand tries to say that it's confusing having two different languages. That's so common in other areas of the world that's for me it's not a good enough reason to get rid of it. So that's the first thing, the attack on Te Reo Māori, where the public doesn't get a say. Just that the government just unilaterally goes and makes these changes and starts pulling all this stuff out. That's one of the ones that's really created a negative impact for me. The second one maybe is surprising because there's so many attacks going on, but the second one for me is more the economic impact, or not the economic impact, but the the cultural impact that it may have on New Zealand, which is this fast track, the fast track stuff. So it's bypassing any kind of ability for either iwi or even the public in general to prevent particular developments from happening.
Definitely.
Now we have ministers who can just sign off whatever fast track proposals they want to do.
Yeah, in the interest of growth.
In the interest of big business.
And that's, I mean, this is the thing is that iwi in particular, mana whenua, and we could go to the depths of that term, mana whenua, and I know that it's a relatively recent and government-centric term of being mana whenua. Our grandparents never used that word. But, having the mana of the whenua, a tangata whenua person that has not just the rights, but the responsibility more so to look after that land. And we're talking about people that know the land better than anyone. And so if we've got a development going up there, a minister in Wellington doesn't know that out in Homestead Bay you have some of the biggest freshwater tuna in the world, sitting there, and they just swim up onto the beach. Allowing that development to come through, they go away, and that, for some people, I don't eat tuna myself, but for some people, especially here at Kaitapu finally,
I'm not a big fan of the taste of it, but I will eat smoked tuna if I have to,
Oh, if I go onto Marae and it's a part of the haka.
Yeah, for sure.
But, it's having the different points of view, looking at your thing and going, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? How are you going to address this? And that's where it's the importance of and this is Te Tiriti o Waitangi in action, right? How are we going to agree to live together? And so, the fast track, I don't think we're seeing the worst of it. Worst of it's yet to come. We're not even in chapter 2.
Which is where my real concern lies. It's because I don't think people understand the long-term impact for letting this unadulterated just consumption of our local resources, of our taiao, of our environment, and the promises a few jobs. The real slap in the face is that the majority of these profits are going to go offshore.
Offshore, definitely.
Yeah, so we're not going to see the benefit of the actual profits of these resources that belong to New Zealand as a country. And then, using this little tidbit of, it's going to create 100 jobs. This create 100 jobs is the reason why they can just rape and pillage the environment as much as they want to. We've seen this in Te Tairāwhiti with all the slash that's come through from the forestry. Because they've just come in and have done what they've wanted to do all across the East Coast, and they've left the mess behind. And our community pays for it with all of this destruction of not just the waterways, but all the land as well.
Yeah, slashes, that's taken out from whānau in Tolaga Bay.
Yeah.
The amount of times that bridge has been blown out through floods and whatnot because of the slash coming down off the hills. It's not funny. It's just, it's every year. It happens every year. Well, get it fixed and it gets broken again. Get it fixed and broken again.
Even Skyline were up there digging around up there and the whole hill came down, buried the cemetery. There's all this stuff that we just let corporations get away with it under the guise of, they're going to create a few jobs. Yeah. But what's the long-term impact to us?
There is an argument around, fast track around housing, right? Like I rent in Hanleys. I pay 4 figures per week to rent there. And, more housing means that there's, on a very crude theory, more houses on the market means that the supply is bigger, and therefore hopefully it satiates the demand, and then house prices sort of level out a little bit. The reality is that so many people want to move here that if all of a sudden there's extra houses, it just becomes more demand. Right, just because if you build 100 houses, there'll be demand for 1,000.
Yeah.
If you build 1,000 houses, there'll be demand for 5,000.
And for me,
it doesn't really help me either way.
well, the step further with that whole conversation is that unless we find a way to stop making property investment attractive, because in New Zealand it is, it doesn't matter how many houses you build, because filthy rich people will come in and buy them and turn them into rentals. So we have to stop people speculating on the housing market. Instead of buying up houses to allow people to rent, we need to stop those people from just increasing their property portfolio. Otherwise, nothing changes. The same people are just going to keep buying those properties.
Well, it's New Zealand's get rich quick scheme, right?
Yeah, that's the easiest way to get rich in New Zealand.
I remember I had a former girlfriend's father who was a property developer, and his big thing was never pay off your mortgage. Just if you get your mortgage, you're paying it well, and you're getting some stuff. Once you've got enough money, go buy another house, and make someone else pay your mortgage. And then when that's getting paid off, then you get a little bit of money. Go buy another one. Go buy another one. So it's New Zealand's get rich quick scheme.
Made worse by the Bright Line thing. That's
exactly.
brought back in again. That's taken out now.
So I mean, in terms, depending on how they structure it, I like the idea of a capital gains tax. Right? Because it doesn't affect your family home. If they could potentially bring in something in which you could sit there and go, I don't know, maybe we can limit it to one investment property per whānau. Or that I'm allowed to buy a house for my daughter when she goes to university, and then that becomes my investment. If I've got whānau living in it or something like that, because we'll see it in and around Māori and Pacifica whānau, right? Whereas you always have the rich auntie or uncle. So if we've got the potential within whānau to buy other whānau housing, I don't necessarily have too much of a problem to help support that way. But someone owning 10 investment properties, selling them to the highest, or renting them to the highest bidder.
For whatever they can get.
And I just...
allowing 20 low-wage workers in Queenstown to cram into a two-bedroom apartment.
So we've got a house behind us where there's 8 in the house, in a 4-bedroom house, so 4 couples. And they all own the house together. So, I thought they were renting, just tradies and whatnot. They all went in together and bought that house together. And they're just doing...
It's a good plan.
They're young, you know. They party at night, all the houses around it, including us. We have a baby, so they keep us up at night and we wake them up early in the morning.
The balance of life, bro.
The balance of life. But I mean, this year, so on the grand scheme of things, I was told from a very early age, my mum moved us from where I was born in Auckland down to Christchurch, and we had to learn a new way of life. And, I was always told that as Māori, we just got to, the way that she was brought up, you just got to react to what's in front of you, and which is fine and dandy, but actually now we've actually got to start looking towards what's going to be there for my kids, my kids' kids, and their kids' kids, right? And so I'm in a privileged position to start thinking about that, whereas, as I was saying earlier, the whānau that it's really hitting hard are the ones that are just dodging. They're getting things thrown at them left, right and centre that just go there.
Yeah, so I'm feeling that already. So this is one of the reasons why I care so much. It's not because of me personally. I'm in a privileged position of having, of being a little bit older. I lived at a time where everyone could in their 20s, everyone could afford to buy a house. If you wanted to buy a house, so the choice was there.
Yeah, you could work hard and get it done.
It wasn't difficult to buy houses for yourself back when I was in my 20s. I look at my children now, who are all, one's in his 30s, one's in his 20s, and the other one's 19, about to hit her 20s. They can't, they have no pathway into buying property anytime soon. They've got a long wait, or a long time of saving to get to that position that I was lucky enough to get into quite early. that's why it affects me now. Is not because of me. I'm fine. We're financially fine. But I look at my children and I fear how long it's going to take them to get into their own house. So now politically, I care about what's going on in the system in order to aid my children getting into housing. So I'm all for a capital gains tax. I'm all for anything that helps stop people speculating on property as an investment avenue.
Well, if we look at it from a sheer human rights point of view, right?
Yeah.
Housing is a human right.
Should be.
And
absolutely.
so to be able to basically hog all the cookies in the cookie jar for one set of people, and then, if I take all the cookies, there you go, I'll give you one, and you can live, but I'm going to keep the rest.
Yeah.
That's not human nature, right?
No.
So,
well, it's not fair. It's not the fairness of how we should be operating.
So, I mean, with that in mind, then, we talked about Labour's capital gains tax.
Yeah.
Who's going to make it right?
Who's going to make what right in particular?
Well, just, how do we... So we agree that that the last 2.5, 3 years, the last term of government has been negative or very negative on Māori. How do we bring it back to at least neutral?
Well, I think...
Because we're taking big hits, right? We talked about these big hits.
Yeah.
That's actually... We can't... In my mind, I'm almost sitting saying to go from net negative to net positive is almost too big a mountain to climb.
For sure. For sure. It's generational, I think. We've got to come up with a plan that I think will, within 1 or 2 generations, will get us there. One of the biggest problems I have with the whole political system is this quick win attitude. It's like, I'm going to give you something in the next 2 years. That's why you should vote for me. And I'm like, you're making short-term promises in the interest of just getting into power. But, as a country, we really need to look at what's good for all of us in the next 10 to 20 to 40 years.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the dangers of this year's election, because I think the Māori vote is up in the air. Yeah. And I think the Māori vote will decide the election.
Maybe.
I think if the majority of Māori voters, which side of the spectrum you side with, if the majority of Māori want, if we're taking the standpoint in which last 3 years have been terrible for Māori, we've got to say that the outcome that is desired by Māori is a change of government, right?
For sure.
So we're going to want then that coalition, which I actually think is simultaneously a good government method, but also I think it's disastrous. Yeah. The last 3 years hasn't been National running the country.
And see, for me, this is one of the problems is this perception that National is the problem, right? The Māori Party worked fine under a previous National government, and I think we got a lot of good wins out of it, So it's National is not the issue. The right is not the issue, because we've proven that we can work together under certain conditions. Yeah. There's just, I'm just going to come out and say it's that far right attitude that is leading us down what I feel is the wrong track. People on the right politically may think the opposite. They think that Māori are leading us down the wrong track. Lefties or whatever you want to call us. That's fine. We're all allowed our own political opinions on that.
I mean, I've voted for both National. I voted for Labour, voted for the Greens, I voted for Te Māori. Yeah. I think I've been voting, what am I now? 42, so that makes it 24 years of voting. And I think in 24, divided by that by 3, so I've had 7 or 8 elections. And I think on balance, I probably voted for National more than I voted for the perceived left side of the spectrum, right?
Yeah, that's a good question for me. I think I probably have voted more for Labour, but I haven't voted for Labour in at least the last 5, maybe 4 election cycles. So I'm ever since what Helen Clark's government did, I've never gone back to Labour since. But I've done the whole lot. I used to vote for National. My first vote went for the McGillicuddy Serious Party because I was like whatever you're allowed to. My first year of being allowed to vote, I was just a dork that went, oh, this party promises 100% unemployment. Yeah, let's do that. So, like silly voting.
I remember when I was in university, I remember the John and Ben party. They did a pop sport and they created a political party. And all they needed to do to recover their registration fee was get 1,000 votes.
Right.
And they got 5,000 university students to vote for them.
Yeah.
So they actually got some money back on it all. But, I mean, that was back when, you're a silly university student or, straight out of high school, so to speak. But, I didn't, when John Key's government first got in, I was the same with, and a lot of people forget about Helen Clark's Labour government.
Yeah.
We want to talk about horrendous things that happened to Māori.
Yeah. We have short memories about what Labour did to us. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, John Key came in with the national government, didn't need Te Pāti Māori or the Māori Party at that time, to form a government, but knew that he'd need them to create a 2-term government.
Yeah.
Support them in. We got the foreshore and seabed stuff going. We got some wins out of there with, Tariana Turia and Peter Sharples are pretty.
They were sharp.
They were sharp.
Yeah, they were really sharp. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and so for the second term, I voted for John Key purely based on that. He didn't need to. He brought this in. Say what you want about him. Like, whoever's prime minister, it's a popularity contest, right? Like,
well, look at Winston Peters. That guy just does not deserve to be in Parliament, but he always finds a way to sound good to old people, so they keep voting him.
Well, they call him the I'm not going to say cockroach, never
he's
dies.
He's a cockroach. Because he's the ultimate flip-flopper. He just goes wherever the political wind blows. So he's been far left.
From a political strategy point of view, it's like he's been able to get, for the percentage of vote that he's held as a party, over however long he's been doing it for, your MMP, if you were to say who is it favoured the most, it's him.
Yeah.
Because he's taken 5 to 7% of the vote.
Just have to get the 5, that's it.
And he's gotten the most amount of wins.
Because he used to be Mr. Tauranga. He used to have that Tauranga seat all sewn up.
Yeah.
Then he lost it. He's never been back there since.
And been running in Northern. But then you bring in, but with him he brings, Matua Shane. Matua Shane. And I remember, as much as my memory from the Labour New Zealand First government, Jacinda's government, my memory of it, and again, we have very short memories, was Shane Jones's Regional Growth Fund. Right, he had this Regional Growth Fund, which was X amount of million, I think it was $6 million. And a large majority of that fund went into fixing up marae. So a lot of the marae, especially in Northern, where all this whanaunga are, a lot of the marae got some spruce ups. But a lot of marae and Māori pa sites and heritage sites and whatnot, a lot of money got fed into, different improvements and renovations and things like that. So, and that's why when Matua Shane goes to Waitangi, this whanaunga still stand in tautoko, right?
He didn't give much to our end of the country. We got
down these ways.
we got all ours from Te Aotearoa through education grants. So we did wānanga, and through those wānanga, so many marae down the east coast were given money to keep their marae going. I'm sure he did great for the northern region, but pretty sure he didn't do much for our region. Parikura did the most for our region. Parikura Horomia, when he was Labour, Labour minister. He had plenty to to sort of help with Māori outcomes across New Zealand, to be fair, to Parikura. That's why to this day, the East Coast remains a Labour stronghold. We've never stopped voting Labour on the East Coast, although I'm not a Labour supporter, but our region is pretty heavily red still.
Yeah, and I think that region will go red again.
Yeah,
I
think
they'll
so.
go red strong. But I'll be interested to see, where different, a bit of a shout out. Very good rugby playing mate of mine has just announced he's standing for Labour in the Te Tonga seat. So shout out to Mananui Ramsden.
Sure.
Recently ran for regional council, so got the politics bug. Caught it and is going to stand up and run, which would be interesting because Te Tonga, you talk about later, red strongholds. As long as that Māori seat's been there, it's been theirs, right?
Yeah.
Or Green Party. So it'd be interesting to see what where the rest of the country goes.
I think, personally, from my point of view, I think the Māori Party, at least for the next cycle, are going to really take a hit.
Definitely.
I think Waiariki might hold on to their seat. Like I think Rawiri might still hold on to his seat. I think all of the other seats will be up for grabs. I think, and I can see.
I think you're seeing it in Dawiri's, in his folk kōrero Waitangi. I think he knows that now is the time to start, just at least in public, eating a bit of humble pie.
I think as long as they've got John Tamihere running things, I think Māori are not going to fully rally behind that party anymore. Rightly or wrongly, however you want to view John Tamihere, there's a pretty much the whole of Te Tai Tokerau are anti-John Tamihere, regardless of what Te Pāti Māori stands for. So I think that it's not tenable as a unifying party as long as John Tamihere is the...
Who has Tai Tokerau as a seat?
Tai Tokerau?
Is that Maria Mino?
Yes, Maria Mino. Although, did she get the seat? Calvin Davis... No, Calvin Davis didn't get it.
Yeah.
So it must have been Maria Mino,
Yeah, so that's interesting. I don't know if Calvin Davis is going to run again.
No, he's out. He's out already. I think he retired because he didn't retain the seat. Yeah. But Willow Jean Prime is a good candidate for Labour to come in and take the Māori seat. So it'd be interesting to see what happens because Maria Mino, if she doesn't stay with Te Pāti Māori, she might do a horny harawira and come up with her own party.
Well, because there's that waka jumping one, right? So she can't switch parties.
Don't know.
Is that the rule? I think.
No. In the middle of your term, you can't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But to start off the next term, you can, I think, which is why I think some of them are moving. Well, word is they might be moving to the Green Party because the Green Party's got quite a significant Māori voice these days. So I think they're going to make a real effort to push for Māori seats.
It's an interesting one. I know that my aunties and uncles up in Rāwhiti and Taitakurau, they are big Green Party members. They had so when Jason Mamoa was doing Chief of War up there, they had a pōheri for him. And obviously all the cousins show up for it because they want to try and trick him into marriage or something like that.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. But then when what's her name, Chloe showed up for our, I think it was a marae opening or something like that. Oh man, did my aunties go nuts for her? They were just,
in a good way.
In a good way, they love her to pieces. So
I like Chloe. I think her and Marama are good choices for co-leaders.
Yeah. I think with Chloe, I think people are just intimidated by how smart she is.
The thing I fear about Chloe is she's tagged with the climate change brush. So I think she's perceived as a one issue person, being the climate side of things, and I think that hurts her because the right always brings out the old, oh, but she flies on airplanes, you know, how much does she really care about the, you know, it's like, oh, I can't believe that actually works on the right.
Yeah. And I mean, I know a lot of my Māori whānau, especially the ones that were doing it tough, got really, really offside with the Green Party around the Palestine issue, which is obviously a massive issue that transcends the whole world.
Why did they go offside? Were they pro-Israel?
No, they're struggling here. You know, what we talked about, the impact of things, and so their big thing is
it's not something we need to care about.
It's not. We don't have the capacity to care about that at the moment because we've got whānau losing jobs or kind of to play.
Yeah,
you know,
I get that.
And so, you know,
but as the saying goes, we can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So yeah, it was more around the ones that were really doing it tough.
Yeah.
You know, and potentially the hardcore ones that were dealing with some of the RMA and the fast track stuff around environments getting absolutely destroyed, and you are our environmental champions.
Yeah.
We need you to focus on this,
Yeah.
but. You know, someone had to stand up. There was no other party that was standing up and saying anything in support of.
True.
So
that is true.
You know, they were the only ones pushing the government on that kaupapa, and other people sort of rallied in behind them. You know, even, you know, Labour really should be the ones pushing it, but they took the back seat and allowed the Green Party to take, we're not along with you.
I think they're too close to the centre or even shifting to the right to make to really embrace the people whose vote is available. I think, and so those people on the left are starting to gravitate towards the Greens.
Here's a couple of I think we should answer these quickly rather than actually go into depth, right? So I have this theory that whoever wins the prime ministership is a popularity contest, right? This is my theory, right? The most popular person at the time. So I looked at the whole of government at the time when Jacinda was coming up, and I said she's going to be the next Labour Prime Minister when Key was in power.
She didn't win the popular vote, though. It was Winston that made her the Queen. He could have chosen the other side.
Yeah. But she also, regardless of what happened and people's views on COVID, she won them a majority government.
Yes. For the next cycle, absolutely.
For the next cycle. So, but so here's a quick one then. Do you think, because based on our political structure, the theory says that only National or Labour can be the Prime Minister, right? Based on the way that history has told us what could happen. Is Chris Hipkins charismatic enough and likeable enough for Labour to win?
So my quick answer is I don't care.
Yeah.
I am literally about policy and about what's good for the future of New Zealand. I couldn't care less who the leader of the party is. And I think that's our issue in New Zealand, is we're making the Prime Minister a popularity contest. It should be about the policies that make all of our lives better. So for that reason, I'm not concerned about whether he's popular or not. I only care about whether their policies will work for what I think.
Don't get me wrong, I agree with you. Right?
But it doesn't factor into it.
About it is Labour's policies are just a slightly lefter version of National's policies.
True.
Right?
That could be better. They could be
better. And you know, credit to them that they've actually grown some balls and said, "No, fuck it. We're doing capital gains tax. Poison chalice to everyone apparently, but they've gone, actually, we need to do this."
It's only a poison chalice because the average person doesn't understand what it means.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the people who aren't affected by it don't understand what it is. It's the people who hate it are the ones who come out as if they're sounding like a vocal majority when they're not. They're a minority, but they're so loud they make it sound like they are the majority.
So I mean, this is my worry about. I'm potentially. I personally, I would like a change of government. Right?
Yep.
But I also see a
It won't
it's
work
controversial.
with Hipkins.
Yeah, I don't think if it's a Labour majority government, or Labour and Greens and maybe a little sprinkling of Te Māori,
One seat.
get some
Yeah.
get some chocolate hail sprinkled in there.
Yeah.
Maybe edit that out. I don't see it fundamentally shifting that swing back. Now I think they sort of see that, right? There's danger if they swing it back too far, too fast, that there'll only be another one-term government. But I also see a blue government with very little yellow and very little black as a change of government. Now, whether that's good or bad, I'm yet to even given some thought to. But I think about the majority of policies, and this is purely policies, the majority of policies that I don't like that have come from this current government, and they have been ACT Party policies.
Yeah. Well, wherever the tax cut, which I assume always comes from National, but I know ACT are fully on board with it too. This idea that we need to attack the deficit and we need to give tax cut and tax cuts are the answers. This is what keeps dooming us time after time after time, is that we start stripping back services that are available, public services that are available. We need those public services. The only way we get them is through taxing. We need to stop with this infatuation with having no taxes, because all National did was move it from a tax and call it a levy. So now we pay more for everything as a levy, so that they can say, but it's not a tax.
Yeah, we got rid of X amount in taxes.
Yeah, but you shifted it to a levy. So now what National does is create what's called regressive taxing. So they increase things like GST, which it's a regressive tax because it more affects poor people than it does rich people.
Yeah.
Because rich people pay a smaller percentage of their wealth towards GST than poor people.
Yeah, you've got the ability, if you've got options, you can pick the option that impacts you the least, right?
Well, it's
if you haven't got any options, because you've got one supermarket down the road from you, you get paid on this day of the week, and that whatever you walk in on that day with your money is the price.
Yeah, and
that's the
national attitude is regressive taxing. So it's like it's fees, it's user pays. User pays always hurts poor people more than it hurts rich people, because they pay the same amount. But if you look at how much these people earn, that same amount is this much of their income.
Yeah.
If the poor person pays the same amount, it's this much of their income. It's all regressive taxing. And so this is the reason why I think fundamentally the mind shift, the mindset of the right and conservative sort of way of approaching fiscal policy is always about regressive taxing. It's always about how can we make rich people pay the least.
Yeah.
They don't say it out loud, but the implication is so that poor people pay more.
Well, I mean, that is the output, right? So and I mean, this is all based on how you present the statistics, right? Like, I remember back in the day there was the same argument going on in which someone said, I think it was around Jacinda's time, Labour government into power, say there is less than 5% of New Zealand that are living below the poverty line. That's what this side said.
Right.
And the other side said there is over 400,000 people in New Zealand living below the poverty line. It's the exact same stat presented in a different way.
Yeah.
And one sounds way worse than the other.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my advice to whoever's listening to this is, if you're being presented things in percentages, don't.
It's terrible strategy in percentages or in per capita numbers. Just say a big number.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've got a great one because I use it in my day-to-day thing within Queenstown things, right? Yeah. So we have, on paper, between 2013 and 2023, a Pacifica population that exploded. I'm talking about an explosion of 460% growth in population. What I'm not telling you is that in 2013, there were 38 Pacifica whānau that filled out the census, and in 2023, there were hundreds. The difference between the two, percentage-wise, was massive. 400 and something percent, right?
Yeah.
The difference in reality in numbers is X amount to X amount.
It's like 100, yeah.
To me, it's still relevant, right? We can't sit there and ignore a number like 460%. We have got a growing Pacifica population, but actually you've got to bring context to everything.
Yeah, that's why, in your example, percentage is a great way to get the message. It's not the actual numbers, right?
Yeah, what's the number? Tell me what the number is.
Yeah, the number is 100 families. Well, what's 100 families? But if you go 400% increase in families, that's like, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and there was another one that got floated the other day in which it was bread prices have gone up. In the last year, bread prices have gone up 50-something%. Right, and so I thought about, okay, how much is a loaf of bread? Let's call it $3. I don't do the shopping, so I don't know.
So it's closer to 5 and 6.
Okay, let's call it 5, right? So if it's to go up 50% over a year, that's $5 to $7.50. So that to me, when I'm going $5 to $7.50, that's when percentages make sense to me, because $2.50, it's not that much. But then I sit down and I pulled out a loaf of bread the other night and it was gone by morning. I was like, holy, So that's when the stuff starts to hit.
Yeah, well, because the stuff gets smaller as well, eh? I don't know if you noticed, but Malibu bread used to be this massive, vast bread, but now it's like it's like the size of the old Vogel's bread these days. Yeah.
So I found this would have been a couple of years ago, but I found a packet of chips from when I was like a teenager in the cupboard of mum's house or whatnot. But the size of the packet of chips, it was just like, your normal school lunch size bag of chips, not the multi-packs, like proper small packet of chips. And like, no shit, this thing's double what our one is.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting there. I didn't eat them.
But okay, so to wrap up this first version, bro, so we've talked a lot about our attitudes towards politics in general, who we voted for, what things we think have affected our positivity or the negativity of our personal attitudes in the current form. So in the coming weeks, bro, we're gonna talk a little bit more about politics. Probably we might dig a bit deeper into the Māori sort of kaupapa side of things, because there's lots going on in that realm as well. So any last thoughts on this session?
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's a massive year, and we've got a long time to talk about it this year. And it's central government, so it's not going to touch our worlds, right? We can be as controversial as we want, hopefully.
True.
And I'm sure...
well, we're allowed to have a political opinion,
We're not doing this in work time.
Yeah. All right, so I think we'll leave it there for the session. If you enjoyed that, and I'm sure there was a lot of stuff there that may have triggered you about the anti-right stuff, but hey, engagement is engagement, so give us a thumbs up. Even if it's a thumbs down, it's still engagement. Write us a little comment if you want, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time on The Tune. Ngā te wā.